All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Innovate BC. I'm super excited for our guest speaker, Loa. She is going to talk about how to become a skilled negotiator. So you've come to a really good session, a really good webinar. We welcome you. My name's Michelle. I'm joining from Emiskochi, Waskaga, and Treaty 6, Edmonton area. So I'm really honored to be here. Tonight is the full moon and I'm super excited. Make sure you make some space in your life today to go out and stand under that grandmother moon. She's at her most powerful. There's just something beautiful about being out on the land and just being outside and just taking in that breath of fresh air. So we give thanks to Creator for this moment, this opportunity that we can come and gather together virtually. I know not very ideally, but I think we're used to this virtual community now. We would love for you all to turn on your cameras. Loa's really good at being interactive throughout her presentations. And so we would love to see your faces. Love to hear from you as well throughout the presentation today. All right, so I'm just going to do a little intro, but then I'm going to hand it right over to Lo because she's remarkable and I don't want to waste any more time. But today's takeaways are you're going to understand the negotiation process, assess your people skills, communicate more effectively, learn to negotiate with influence, and get to a win-win outcome. So to me, it sounds a lot about communication today, but a little bit about Loa. She has 20 plus years of entrepreneurial, marketing, technology, and sales expertise through her marketing agency Activate. So she consults for emerging private and public companies, Indigenous and not-for-profit organizations here in Canada. She also works with progressive Indigenous communities in BC, passing along marketing, digital media, and sales knowledge to Indigenous entrepreneurs who want to start and grow companies that they are passionate about. And let me tell you, I am passionate about Loa and her knowledge that she brings to the table. I've had the honor of sitting through some of her workshops, some of her presentations, and I just walk away always inspired and eager to put what she has taught me to practicality. So we're so honored you're here, Loa. She's joining us from BC. So I'm going to pass that virtual mic over to you.
Yay! Thank you so much, Michelle, for that wonderful introduction. And you always bring such warm, amazing energy to every session. So thank you for that. And for Elsie for helping to set this up and bringing us all together today. And I just want to also express my gratitude for being able to live, work, and play on the beautiful traditional unceded territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh people here in Vancouver, British Columbia. So I don't know I know what a couple of you are experiencing in terms of weather-wise, but here in Vancouver, we've had a lot of rain lately. So it's that time of year to get cozy and to also really start, practicing just getting even better at our craft and what we do. And negotiation is certainly a really wonderful skill to be able to have, not just for high stakes business deals, but also every day in life. Right? I bet you all don't even realize that you probably have exceptional negotiation skills in areas that you don't even realize. We have to, in every single day, we have to negotiate, whether it's negotiating for a job offer or negotiating with a new potential business partner or negotiating with our kids to clean up their rooms. Right? Or your partner to go see a chick flick with you if you want to go see a new movie. So there's always opportunities where we're negotiating to be able to enhance the opportunities in our lives for ourselves and for our companies. And we want it to be a win-win situation as well, right? For everybody involved. So I'd like you to think about this situation. Say you're just starting out in your career and you land a new job and it's got a decent salary. So you accept that salary. Okay, well, your friend, as you accept the salary as advertised, your friend now also accepts a job with a similar salary that's advertised, but your friend decides that they are going to negotiate a $7,000 a year increase. Well, that $7,000 a year increase in 15 years is going to, your friend's going to be making $50,000 more a year than you do because you didn't negotiate. And in 30 years, your friend's going to be making $100,000 more a year. So you can see where this little skill of negotiation really pays off, like literally pays off, as well as figuratively in our overall life, and enhancing the opportunities that that present themselves. So what we're going to do today is talk about some strategies, a few tips and tricks on how you can enhance your negotiation skills. And we're going to be going through a process, looking at what the negotiation process looks like, so that you can break it down into steps and really think about, have I covered each of these steps in the absolute best way possible? So I'm going into this negotiation with as much strength as I can, and can creatively think about how to approach this with a problem-solving, creative, strategic outlook where everybody can win. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. So I've been, as Michelle mentioned, in business for a long time. So negotiating is something that I've had to become really comfortable at doing. Sometimes in really high stakes environments, it's still can be a little bit intimidating, especially if you're negotiating with somebody whose style is a little different than yours. But we can all just really work to improve our skills in this area and get more comfortable at it. Okay, so I would like you all to while we're going through this, to think about a time recently where you had to negotiate something. And it doesn't have to be high stakes business. It can be, or it can also be something in your day-to-day life. And as we're going through each slide, I would like you, and the process, I'd like you to think about if you actually worked through the steps without even realizing that that's what you were doing. And if there's some steps that maybe you weren't aware of, then hopefully you'll be able to now take this into your next negotiation period going forward. So first, we want to make sure that we are working within the attitude of abundance. So we're walking into a negotiation with a win-win attitude. When you bring that kind of energy to a negotiation, and you bring that sort of positive outlook into an environment which can sometimes be seen as being adversarial, but your energy really will influence the overall process. And especially if you are prepared with being 70% of actually walking away with a really good deal of negotiation is about the preparation that you do. So we're going to look at that as well. And if you do have a circumstance where you are working with another person who's in perhaps a partnership negotiation situation, and they have a very different negotiation style than you can figure out what it is, what their negotiation style is, and then try as much as you can to match their energy. If it's a collaborative style, and if they're more assertive, for example, but your personality and your style of managing conflict may be a softer approach, well, you can work to really strengthen that part of your negotiation skills. Okay, so there's a pendulum of the negotiation styles, and it goes from, and hopefully everybody can see my screen okay. Can you?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, okay, hold on. Just a moment. Let's try this again. Share. Okay, so here we are. Okay, so win-win negotiation, walk in with an abundance mentality that there's enough for everybody, and figuring out what your style is, your communication style versus the style of the other person. And that's going to be reflected based on, we all have different aspects to our personality, and also how we handle and manage conflict given our backgrounds and what we learned growing up and the experiences that we've had in various business situations or real life sort of adversarial situations and how we manage that throughout our life is going to give us a really good indication as to what our style is and what the style is of the other person that we're going to be sitting down and negotiating with. So there are 5 different negotiation styles in general. And if you want to assess, we won't go too deep into all of the styles, but I'll give you sort of what the pendulum looks like. And so from one side of the pendulum style, it's the real competitive, win it in every circumstance, no matter what the outcome is for the other party. And that is a very competitive style. And that style is tend to be a little bit on, or not a little bit, but tend to be on the more domineering style, which also can compromise relationships. So that's not an ideal way to go into a negotiation. And then far the other side of the pendulum is the avoidance style. And this is for people who are really conflict avoidance, like run from conflict in any circumstance. And that's not a great way to show up either when there's a potential negotiation on the table that could be a good outcome for both sides. So where you want to, and same with being super accommodating and people pleasing and compromising is kind of along the same lines as the accommodating style is. So what we all want to aim to be is collaborative. And the collaborative style means that you go into a negotiation with your win-win, with the win-win attitude, but you're also a creative problem solver. So together you look at where your interests are similar and where you can come to a meeting of the minds on the interests both sides have. And then you're going to be working through, creatively working through any of the differences and any of the areas that may be a point of contention. But you're going to be able to, based on the interests of both sides and listening to what both sides want or need, come to a good conclusion. And not every single deal, especially in business, is going to work out. Sometimes it's going to maybe be not the right circumstances, not the right time, not the right partnership, and maybe you don't do the deal. But in general, if it looks like it could be really, really beneficial for both sides, then we just need to take the time to really figure out what both sides' interests are and how to come to a place that is a really great outcome for both parties. So now if you want to assess your style, I've included, and you'll have the slides after the presentation, and I think Elsie's going to put the slide deck in the chat for me. Thanks, Elsie. So you can, there's a link here from hbr.org where you can take the quiz on assessing what type of negotiator you are, okay? The quiz takes a few minutes, so we don't have time to do it now, but it's kind of fun just to assess your personality and see, how effective a negotiator you are at this point, or what areas that you could strengthen. So I recommend you do it when you have the time. Okay, so now let's talk about what do you need to do in order to show up and be ready to be a really great negotiator? Well, if you remember this acronym, GABA, or GABA for short, 70% of getting a good deal in a negotiation is preparation. So think about, first of all, getting clear on what your goal and aspiration is for the outcome that you would like to achieve in the particular situation that you're in. What are your alternatives? So if it's a business deal, do your market research. And if it's a new supplier you're thinking about partnering with, what if for whatever reason that deal doesn't work out, what are your other options? What are your alternatives? Because if you go in and knowing that you have options, you're going to be positioning from a place of strength. Okay, so it's really important that you really do your research and figure out, okay, what are my other options? If it's not to buy this particular home condo, then maybe it's to buy a condo over in this other part of town for a similar price. Think about what your options are. And then what is your bottom line? We all have a bottom line that we do not want to really test, because especially if it's a business deal and you end up giving away the farm, that's not going to be good for you or your organization. Or if you go into debt for that condo more than you can realistically afford on a mortgage, that's not good for anyone, for you or either. That's definitely a win-lose, not in your favor. So think about what your bottom line is. And then what is actually achievable? So what can you go in with where both sides, based on the research you've done, and so always make sure you know where the other party is coming from before you sit down to the table. You have an idea of who the organization is, what their capabilities are, what kind of capacity they're dealing with, as much as you can. And then that way you're prepared and you're going into the negotiation from a position of strength. Okay, so now if we look at the actual process of what this looks like, the first thing that you're going to do when you sit down at across the table from someone is build rapport. First and foremost, we all want to do business with people that we know, like, and trust. So building rapport and finding some common ground is really important. And it's also, if you find that you are communicating with someone who has a really very different style than yours, just think about how you can, prepare as much in advance and then also match that person's energy. So if somebody is a lot more assertive than your personality tends to be, do your best to match that assertiveness level. Okay. And especially the more you prepare for that negotiation, the more confident and comfortable you're going to feel being assertive. Okay. The second step is to understand where both sides are coming from. So have a chat about both your interests, find out what your bottom lines are, find out where the wiggle room is and what you're both after. And then figure out how you can come to that win-win situation. So of course, there's going to be some points where you'll agree. And then there's going to be some points where it's, maybe not favorable to both sides quite yet. So discuss the differences. Think about where both sides can have some wiggle room and can maybe sweeten the deal. If it's if perhaps you're looking to sell your product or service in bulk to another organization and they can't afford to pay that price, well, can you throw in some, can you maybe slightly reduce the price if they're going to commit to a longer term deal? So think about where you can sweeten the offer. And then the fourth step is to then propose a really good solution that works the best for both of you. And discuss all the details of what that could look like. Once you come to an agreeable circumstance that is hopefully good, really good for both sides, where you're able to increase the pie versus just splitting the pie down the middle, then you can put that into a contract format or agreement, and then close. The final step is closing the deal, and then having hopefully a long-term relationship where both sides it's mutually benefit for. Okay, so now we're going to do in a second, we're going to do an exercise on using the negotiation canvas model that will help you to break down the steps and look at all the different ways that you can approach that particular situation using this example of the two sisters with the orange. So this is obviously a very basic negotiation, but it is something that will probably trigger, circumstances in everyday life, whether it's business or in your personal life. And it just helps to break it down and make it really simple to understand. So we're going to watch this short video, and then I'm going to send you, given we have enough time, all into I think we will, into breakout rooms with a partner. And then we're going to give you an exercise and an opportunity to practice your negotiation skills. Okay, so here we go with the video.
Welcome to Negotiation by Design. Our mission is to help you become a better negotiator. We take the fear out of negotiation with simple tools and a straightforward process you can use to perform better in any negotiation. We believe that better negotiation can make a better world. This video will illustrate the power of the negotiation canvas using a classic negotiation example of two girls fighting over an orange. This example comes from Mary Parker Follett, a pioneer in negotiation, and some say the woman who invented management theory. A few of you may have heard of the orange example. If so, it will give you a head start in understanding the canvas. If you have not, no worries. It is still the easiest negotiation example to understand and grasp quickly. Now for the example. Two sisters, Emma and Sarah, are fighting over an orange. They both want the orange. Because they love each other, they split the orange in half, each girl getting half the orange. This seems like a fair solution, right? Actually, meeting halfway might be fair, but it is not necessarily the optimal solution. Instead of just splitting the pie, we can actually make the pie bigger. Let's walk through the negotiation canvas to show how to find more value for both girls. We'll explain the canvas step by step so that you can use it for your own negotiations. The idea is that once you learn the process, you can repeat it to perform better in every negotiation, whether in your professional or personal life. The first step is to identify the desired outcome for both girls, or what did each girl want? In this case, their desired outcomes, also known as positions, are the same. Emma wants the orange and Sarah wants the orange, but there's only one orange. Let's dig deeper and move from positions to interests by asking each girl why she wants the orange. To get to true interests, it is important to ask the question, why, many times. Understanding the deeper interests helps us to find options that work for both parties. Why does Emma want the orange? Emma wants the orange because she wants to make orange cake. Why does she want to make a cake? Because she is in the mood for something sweet. Now we know Emma's true interests. So, what are Sarah's interests? Why does Sarah want the orange? Sarah wants the orange because she wants to make orange juice. Why does Sarah want to make orange juice? Because she is thirsty. Are you beginning to see other possibilities now? Let's move on to the next step, which is walkaway alternatives. What will Emma do if she cannot reach an agreement with her sister? She might be forced to give up the orange and lose face, or she might be tempted to fight with her sister and get in trouble with her mother. For Sarah, the walkaway alternative is the same. If no agreement is made, she could yield, which sets a bad precedent, or fight and get punished by her mother. People often do not consider their walkaway alternative. However, it is very important to identify your walkaway alternative. First, you need to develop solutions that are much better than your walkaway alternative, or else you would just walk away. Also, the person with the better alternative tends to have more power to negotiate. In the orange example, however, neither sister has a good walkaway alternative. They really need to find a solution to solve Emma's sweet tooth and Sarah's thirst. Now we move on to bargaining chips, or what can each girl offer the other? Since Sarah's interest is to quench her thirst, what could Emma offer her sister to meet her interest? Emma happened to have a pitcher of water. She could offer Sarah a glass of water to quench her thirst and keep the whole orange. Emma could also offer Sarah a small amount of money for the orange. Sarah could use the money to buy a drink of her choice. The last bargaining chip Emma thought of was to give her sister some of the pulp to make juice, which is what she wanted in the first place. What can Sarah offer Emma? Well, since Emma was hungry for sweets, Sarah could offer her the piece of chocolate she had in her backpack. Sarah could also offer Emma a bit of money to buy a sweet. Lastly, since Emma wanted the peel to make orange cake, Sarah could offer her sister the peel because she didn't need it to make the juice. Now that we know what each girl can offer the other, we can determine possible solutions. Try to find 3 solutions. Setting a goal of 3 forces you to be creative. You might come up with a solution you would have never thought of. Presenting multiple solutions also shows flexibility and is great for building trust with your counterpart. So, working from the bargaining chips, what solutions did Emma create to present to her sister? Since Sarah was thirsty, Emma offered to give Sarah a glass of water, which would allow Emma to keep the whole orange. The next solution Emma came up with was to offer her sister a bit of money to buy a drink of her choice. This would also allow Emma to keep the whole orange. Up to this point, Emma had only thought of solutions that would allow her to keep the whole orange, but she'd have to give something up to keep the orange, such as a glass of water or some money. So she thought a little harder. The last solution was that Emma could give her sister all of the pulp to make juice and keep all of the peel for herself to make orange cake. Sarah was impressed that her sister had presented 3 options. However, Sarah didn't really like the first offer, the glass of water, because she preferred freshly squeezed orange juice much better than water. Sarah didn't like the second solution either. If her sister gave her some money, she'd have to walk all the way to the store to buy something to drink, and she was thirsty now. The last solution was the winning solution. Sarah loved the idea of getting 100% of the pulp, which is twice as much as she would have gotten if they had just split the orange. Emma got 100% of the peel and Sarah got 100% of the pulp. Now, instead of each girl getting only half of what they wanted, each girl got 100% of what they wanted without even giving anything up. Look at the 3 solutions again. Do you see how offering multiple options also helps you to uncover the other person's preferences? Because Sarah declined the first 2 solutions, Emma found out that her sister preferred orange juice and that she wanted to quench her thirst immediately. In future negotiations, you might find that offering multiple solutions is very helpful in finding valuable information about your counterpart's preferences, priorities, and interests. The orange example shows how the negotiation canvas can be used to get more for yourself and more value for both parties involved. The canvas is a step-by-step process to guide you through any negotiation, whether simple or complex. I hope this example shows you how easy it is to prepare for your next negotiation using the canvas.
Okay, so does that give everybody a good idea of what the negotiation canvas model, how to use it, and what the goals are? So it just helps you to organize your thoughts and to address all the different areas where you can be a creative problem solver and think about how you can create more of a win for both sides rather than just splitting up the pie. Okay, that was the purpose of this particular canvas model exercise. So what I'd like to do is now have everybody go into with your partner, which Elsie is in. Good job. How did everybody do with that experience? Was it comfortable for you, or tell me? Share. Would somebody like to share what that was like for them? Mary, how did you do?
I couldn't remember all the steps to it, so we're just kind of working through it together.
Perfect. You got to start somewhere, right? And because this is having an actual breakdown of the steps, like it'll become second nature, but you got to start somewhere. So were you the boss or the employee?
The boss.
You were the boss? Okay. And who was your partner?
Shannon.
Shannon. And what was Shannon asking for?
A pay raise.
Okay, yeah, but how much?
Oh, we didn't get into how much.
Oh, okay. Well, so a pay raise, and what did she? What was she? Stating her case on why the pay raise would be not only good for her but also good for you. What was the conversation like there?
Having comparable wages and then paid fairly to the work input that is getting completed. Like I'm trying to think of the word. We were trying to think of the word earlier together and it just wasn't.
That's okay. It's all about being creative, right? That's the whole idea. Yeah, working through it. So the preparation piece, really important. Shannon went and looked at what was the comparable pay in the marketplace. And if she was getting that already, then the next step would be, okay, well, if I'm asking for more money, how can I communicate to my boss, to you, that this is going to be a benefit to you and the organization as well? So perhaps if she's asking for more money, then maybe there is some additional work that she can take on for that money, or perhaps she can, maybe there is some additional benefits that you can offer her in lieu of the money. So really think about, where can you both meet in the middle, where you both get to walk away happy campers. Okay, so it's all about thinking about what are my interests, what's the other person's interest, what's important to both sides, and then how do we meet in the middle somewhere, and how do we make this deal really good for everybody? Okay, because the happier your employees is with what she gets to take away, then you're likely going to get more productivity. But it also has to be good for you too, right? So what is it that she's going to be able to offer to you, in addition to, yes, already doing a good job, but if you're asking for more, you have to be, as the person who's asking for it, you have to be able to communicate to the other person how it's going to help them, right? Because that's how we do the win-win on both sides. Okay, awesome, Mary. So how did it feel going through that process? And Shannon, where are you?
Shannon had to leave.
Oh, Shannon had to go. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So how was it for you then going through that process? Probably a little bit uncomfortable at first, but when you start to practice.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I've done this a little before. I actually did negotiate a health spending account for our like casual seasonal employees. So
Okay.
we now have that in our company. So.
Oh, great. And did you feel good about the outcome, and they did as well?
Yes. Because we
Okay.
couldn't get them on our like full-time benefits. So we just had to think outside the box and what else we could offer them so they had benefits. So I did do that there.
Yay. Good. Okay. See, like I said, we all have negotiation skills because we've had to learn how to get through life. So now if we can just tweak them and really put some structure around them and think about, okay, how do I really adequately prepare? So I'm going into this negotiation, being able to really effectively communicate my needs and what I want, and also how what I want is going to benefit the other person. Right? It's all about that. That's how we create a really good outcome for everybody. Okay, awesome, Mary. Thank you. Good job. And who else wants to share? Who else? Annie, how about you and Jean?
Yeah. So I was the boss and he was the employee. And
Okay.
he wanted a $1 raise on his contract, and so I countered with extra vacation days and extra health plan, or a better health plan.
Okay.
And he declined, and so I negotiated with 45-cent increase.
Okay. Nice.
And he declined.
Okay.
And then
he's a hard targeter.
Yeah, and then he asked for a golf package,
Okay.
around $2,200.
Oh.
And of course, I didn't have a calculator, so I didn't know what was the better outcome. So I agreed to the extra vacation days health plan, 45 cents and golf package, which he ended up getting a better deal in the end.
Jean is an expert negotiator, obviously. But
Yeah.
hopefully he communicated to you, Annie, that how you would benefit and your organization would benefit from him having these additional benefits and money. Did he?
Yes. With his experience and things that he brought to the company.
Okay, good. As long as that is really clear and you feel like the company is getting you as the negotiator for your company and your business are both walking away with with being able to maintain a happy employee, that's also going to increase productivity at the company and, have an positive effect on the bottom line, then it was a win-win. But it's really important that you both do get to that place where you both feel like you're walking away with something good, and that one person's not winning and the other person's kind of, not so great in their outcomes. So, and like I said before, not every negotiation is going to be a success. Sometimes you do have to walk away. But, I think most of us in business can usually creatively come together and find some good solution to a mutually agreeable outcome. So as long as you prepare and you know what you want going in, and what you're able to give to the other party, then it should be in good shape. Tim, how about you?
Just before you go on, I got to excuse myself. I got to jump on to 3 o'clock. I got to prepare for it, but I'm really interested in learning more about some of the courses that you guys are offering. And I administer social media, Indigenous business and entrepreneurship, Michelle. I don't know if you're on there, but definitely put the word out there, because I think a lot of people could benefit from this. So.
Oh, that's awesome, Jean. Thank you so much. And we're really happy that you were able to join us today. And before you leave, please leave your LinkedIn address in the chat so that we can all connect with each other. Elsie's going to put my contact info in the chat. So let's all expand our network, because the more we're connected and we can have more people that we know and like and trust, then the more opportunities are going to come our way. So thank you, Jean. So nice meeting you. Okay, and okay, so Tim, do you want to talk a little bit about what you and Ken did in your negotiation? You're on mute, Tim.
Yeah, Ken was an employee that's been with us for 32 years, and he wanted a 10% increase immediately and more in the future. And he cited the increased cost of living due to COVID and other things, that he just felt he needed more money and was willing to work more for it, provide better results. And I guess my comment was, well, wow, 32 years, been with us for a long time. But now you're saying that you can produce better results. Like, why haven't you been producing these results over these last 32 years? And he felt that it had a lot to do with the culture. It was kind of a constraining culture. We didn't really value creativity and that sort of thing. And he felt he could be much more creative, especially if he was given some motivation through an increased salary. So we talked about, I said, well, the cost of living, yes, it's costing you a little bit more because of COVID related things, but it's also resulted in an increased cost of doing business for us as a company. So we've got to be careful about, how we look at salary increases and that sort of thing, because costs are increasing for us. But he did bring up some really good points with regards to being more creative, providing better results for the company. So we basically agreed to a performance-based increment model, so that we would get together and talk about expectations, and then based on his creativity and the better results, we were confident that he would be getting towards that salary increase that he was looking for on an incremental basis. So that was agreed to, and we both walked away happy.
Oh, well done. Well done. See, I knew you guys already had these great negotiation skills. It's just about really kind of figuring out, okay, like, what is the process that we go through, and what are the steps so you don't miss any steps, and then to even just make yourself that much stronger of a negotiator. So I think that was such an excellent example. So way to go, Tim and Ken. Woo! You guys are all rocking it. Well done. So I think
It was Ken's creative idea that really brought it to the forefront. So he was good. He was good.
Way to go, Ken. Well, I'm so happy that you were all able to be here together today. And let's just quickly look at summarizing what we learned, and then everybody can go forth and prosper. Okay, let me just share my screen quickly. That's my share screen. Okay, and please, everybody, put your LinkedIn in the chat so we can continue to stay connected with one another. Okay, so negotiation summary. So know what you want going in. Make sure you do your preparation and all your research ahead of time. So you know what you want, you're clear on your bottom line. You know what your ask is. You have done your research on the other party. You know where they're likely coming from, and what you know that they're the decision maker too. That's a really important part. And then you want to build rapport when you sit down with them, because remember, we all want to do business with people we know, like, and trust, and match their energy based on what their negotiation style is. Okay, and also negotiate from a position of strength. Know all your options. Even if your options are, if the deal's not the right one, to walk away, at least you're willing to not sacrifice your own, the things that are good for yourself or for your organization. Okay, and then understand what the other side wants and why. Remember the example of the two girls with the orange? So they could have equally split the orange, but the end result was they knew where each other was coming from, why they wanted the orange in the first place, and were able to make the pie bigger, as opposed to just going in and each party having halfsies. Okay, and practice active listening. The more we can, does everybody know what active listening is? So it's the process of, first of all, really being present and hearing what the other person is saying, and then repeating it back to them so that you're very clear on the understanding that you have of where they're coming from. And offer solutions, and you're also creative. So the more that you can and be a problem solver and be collaborative and really work with the other person to come to an amazing outcome, then your deals are going to end up being really good. And if you're dealing with someone who is a more dominating and adversarial, then it's your option to not do the deal until they can be a little more collaborative. But overall, remember, everybody, in life, life's a negotiation. So the more that we can do this, and the more that we can practice and use the model that I provided as well, then we're going to be really good at it. And going in is not going to be, it'll be a lot more comfortable, as opposed to being something that we see as very adversarial. Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed the session today, and we're 3 o'clock on the nose. Woo! Look at that. And everybody got to share, so I like it. I feel like this was a very successful outcome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Elsie.
Wow. Well, thanks, Loa. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Loa. I love go forth and negotiate. Right off the start, you said attitude of abundance, and I love that. And you are worth what you're asking for. And
Yes.
So having these skills and tools will only benefit you and help you to achieve what you're asking for. So thank you so much for teaching us and leading the way, as always. Be sure to follow her on LinkedIn. Connect. It's all about those connections.
Totally.
So thank you all for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you again back here. Be well, take care, and wherever you go for the rest of your day, make sure you just take a moment to breathe in that beautiful Mother Earth. And don't forget that grandmother moon. She's going to be glorious tonight. I just know it. So have a good day, everyone. Peace.
Thanks, everyone. Nice meeting you all and seeing you.